right.
Are we ready to introduce this thing?
Yeah, Cody, break us in.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast. I'm your Cody Toombs.
I'm Corbin Davenport.
And I'm Jules Wong.
And we're getting a late start today, but it's all okay. We're doing good. And speaking of a late start, Huawei is going to be getting a bit of a late start on the Folding Mate X.
Dang, Cody.
Oh, man.
The hangout, the video stream's not working, but your transitions still are
on point, man.
Yeah. And by the way, that box did come back. So anyone watching the video stream, sorry about that.
Oh boy.
So for everyone listening to the audio version, we had to switch to Hangouts for our video call. So now there's just a permanent box that says Hangouts wants to use your microphone on the live stream, and there's not really anything we can do about it.
We might or might not include the first 15 minutes of this horror show.
We will not. We will not do that.
Wait, no, I guess it is only 15. Whatever.
I'm cutting all that out.
Good. Please. All right. So everyone's late. Samsung was late, and now Huawei's late. Although I'm not sure if we can chalk it up to just foldable problems. They also have some BS to deal with the US and the trade wars and whatnot. But
that's putting it kindly.
I don't think there's going to be much of a take up as we head into wintertime, into those holiday seasons, until those whatever's going on back there, because it's just a rich person's phone at the end of the day, and whoever's committed to it, whoever placed their pre-orders, if they place their pre-orders already?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that's just something that they announced. They gave a timeline for it, and then we're like, yeah, well, maybe not quite when we planned.
It's been a while. Yeah.
I don't know if it was up for pre-order, but again, they're not selling this here, so it wouldn't be completely crazy if I just completely didn't hear about it. But yeah, actually, looking at this picture of the phone we have in the post, I like how there's a music app that looks exactly like the iTunes icon. Do you notice that?
It's always been an Apple versus Huawei thing, no matter how much people deny it. We've seen it throughout this trade war because there's been a lot of social media unrest against Apple. Hey, you got to move to Huawei. You got to be cool. You got to move your fleet to Huawei because you got to be patriotic, and you have to stand up for China.
Well, I don't think they should be putting that on the home screen, because I don't think people have a very high opinion of iTunes.
Well, isn't that gone?
Maybe
now?
the wrong thing to copy, Huawei.
Well, wait. Okay. I admit I haven't seen the Apple Music logo, but isn't that really similar?
Yeah, it is.
And Apple Music is available on Android. I'm not sure that this is the same, but that could be just maybe the app that they chose, which would be still weird, but
that would be very strange, but possibly. I just wanted to bring up my distaste for iTunes, because I think that's always relevant.
You know what's really, really distasteful? All the shots that we've seen from the Huawei headquarters.
It's this.
You have not. So our David Reddick has been over there. I don't know what for, I forget, but there's a whole media pack over there, and they're just touring Shenzhen. No, not Shenzhen. New headquarters in Guan, which is like maybe 90 minutes up there from Shenzhen. And it's like it's inspired from like 11 European cities, and they have they have gardens, they have Baroque style buildings, they have a little metro system with cafe embedded inside.
Yeah, it's like it has multiple clones of cities in Europe with like in multiple buildings in each fake city.
Yeah,
it's like it's a small world if that was going to be the entire Disney World. That's what it's like. So yeah, it is very bizarre to look at.
It's crazy.
But yeah.
But at least there's that, right? Man. I don't even know what's going on anymore. But if you do know what's going on, and if you enjoy the show, if you want to support us, We would love it if you could consider subscribing to us on twitch.tv/Android Police. I think we mentioned this earlier, but I think we're going to cut it out. So thanks to M. Sean Lane, who subscribed with Twitch Prime. They've been subscribed for 3 months. It's that support that we rely on in order to keep the show running. Amazon Prime members, by the way, can connect a Twitch account to their Amazon account to get 1 free sub each month. That means you can give us money without actually paying anything other than your Prime subscription, which is going up and up every year. So I'm sorry for that, but we all have to deal with it. We're all chained to the monolith that is Amazon. When you subscribe to us, you get to use a special emoji in the chat, and you get extra entry methods in our site's giveaways. You can find instructions for linking accounts below the stream on our channel page, or if you're listening to the audio version, it's in the episode description. And keep in mind that Prime subscriptions have to be renewed manually each month. If you're not sure if you're still subscribed, you can double check at twitch.tv/AndroidPolice. The button will say subscribe if you're not subscribed. All right, let's get back onto the show.
Yes, please give us money for the live stream that's only partially working. Please and thank you.
And on the subject of ads,
oh boy,
Samsung. Or wait, no,
we're gonna land it. No. Let's. We can.
You know what?
Sorry.
Yeah. No,
please.
sorry. I had already copied a link and I forgot it. That's my fault.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We're in the same realm.
I mean, I'm happy to talk about both, so I'll go off about both.
So yeah. Anyway, saving that awkwardly wrecked segue, Samsung is going to be spamming, or has been spamming, Galaxy phones with ads for the Note 10, because evidently when your phone sales are sagging, the best thing you can do is annoy your existing customers.
That's right, Cody. So Samsung's done this a couple times in the past, about at least once a year. There's some reports of them sending out push notification ads from some app that's pre-installed on Samsung phones. That's why you see a lot of like XDA posts where people recommend you turn off like the Samsung push service or whatever app that is on their phones. Anyway, with the Note 10 launch, Samsung sent out push ads from multiple apps about the Note 10. So there were reports that the notifications were coming from Samsung Pay, Bixby, and Samsung Push Service. There might have been others too, but
it's like a game of whack-a-mole.
It is. So like I got the Bixby one on my S10e, even though I'm pretty sure I unchecked all the boxes that said please don't do personalization offers, whatever. And the Bixby notification just says, curious about the Note 10? Ask Bixby. Yeah, very not subtle at all, Samsung, not at all. You can look at, if you're listening to the audio version, you can click the article for some enjoyment, because we have a couple embedded tweets from people complaining about it, because of course people complain about it. There's a tweet, one guy got 3 different notifications just from Samsung Pay. So that's about how well it went.
Yeah, I think we all have an axe to grind about this kind of stuff, because it's not just Samsung that does it. I think, well,
HTC's done it. I know people complain that Xiaomi does it, but also that's how they get their phones so cheap, is they're like Amazon, where they subsidize it with ads. So but yeah, like even you can't even, it's difficult to even turn these off, because I tried, on Android, you can hold down the notification to turn off either the app or the notification channel, and it told me these notifications can't be turned off. So I just assumed, okay, this is just, I can't do anything about this. It turns out if I open Bixby, which I haven't ever done before, and go to the settings, there's an option at the very bottom to turn off alerts, and you have to do that for each one of these apps sending you notifications.
Man.
And there were the thing I found most surprising about this, because again, this in itself isn't super surprising. Samsung likes doing this every once in a while. But what I found surprising is that there was a lot of people not necessarily defending it, but sort of saying like, oh, you should have uncheck the box or not check the box that said, personalization or whatever when you set up your phone. First of all, I'm pretty sure I did that when I set up my phone, and I still got the Bixby ad. And second, like those options are, I'm pretty sure they're different for different countries. And unless the checkbox said, please give me ads in my notifications that are very difficult to turn off, I don't think that's a valid excuse. And, you know, it again, like if people were warned about this, then there wouldn't have been so many people on Twitter complaining about this. That's really what it boils down to. So
That's the
it's
truth.
silly. Yeah. And you see this kind of a lot in when you have a lot of enthusiasts in one place where they kind of assume like, you know, if you don't, as soon as you set up your phone, if you don't plug it into your computer and disable the 15 Samsung apps with ADB, then you're just dumb. It I've seen that attitude a lot about this, and it's a little bit silly. So just yeah, I, that's annoying from Samsung, especially because again, most of the phones, I assume these were being pushed to like I got it on my S10e. I saw some reports from it on Note phones. So you're seeing these ads on phones that are probably cost them several $100s, and it's for another phone that also cost several hundred, if not over $1,000. So just a little bit distasteful from Samsung.
Well, in the long run, I feel like this is one of those things you kind of almost had to expect just from ages ago. I remember when I got the Note 4, it was something like, I don't know, I want to say about 3 months in, I got a notification ad for one of the new Marvel movies. I forget which one. And it's like, all right, it's not like I'm against the movie. I'm not against the franchise, but come on, I don't need a notification ad telling me about this thing. That's just dumb. And Samsung has just been slowly ramping up their advertising. So, it doesn't matter how much you're paying for the phone. As long as a company doesn't feel bad about using it as an advertising path, they're going to.
Yeah, and of course, a couple of people also pointed out that Google is putting ads in the feed now on the side of home screens, which is also bad. But I feel like that's not nearly to the same degree as annoying as putting in the notification. So I'm a little bit more accepting of that. I don't use feed at all, but
I think it's just the notion of it that stings, because it's a direct to consumer and a consumer that you've already captured, and it's just that relationship's just been strained because you're asking them to pay another $1,000 after 12 months of using your phone, which is still in good service supposedly, and you could use it and should still be valued because it still has freaking software updates that need to be done on it. You committed to 2 years, right? Like, come on.
It's definitely the please buy our $1,000 phone because our sales are slipping. That's really the gist behind this. Like I was getting Bixby notifications before, but it was always like, oh, check out this new feature you can do with Bixby. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll just swipe this away. I'm not that bothered. But once you try to sell me your very expensive phone after I've already paid for this very expensive phone, it's a little bit different.
Well, again, this definitely isn't new. Like for as long as I had the Note 4 and Note 5, I was constantly getting like little updates, reminders, hints that I could trade them in for the new model. Like Samsung, and the Galaxy S7 Edge. I've had all three, and they all three constantly told me every time a new phone came out, hey, you might like this one too. You should come get it.
And Cody never bought a Samsung phone after that.
After those three, no, never.
Yeah.
I suppose that he never even bought a Gear VR after that, just because.
Ooh.
You know what? I'll go with that. That's good. That's solid.
Yeah, well,
everyone's
take it. That's yours.
It is what it is. Yes.
Yeah.
But it is Corbin's story, and I don't want him to lose out.
I get to also complain about this. Yay. So yeah, when the Galaxy Note 10 was announced, one of the things that took a little bit to make their rounds was that it didn't support Samsung Gear VR, which has been Samsung's mobile VR platform they made with Oculus. So that was a little bit surprising, but also like they hadn't made a new headset in a while, so it kind of felt like maybe it was on the down low at this point. But also we got confirmation from Google that Google Daydream will not work on the Note 10 either, and that comes after the Galaxy S8, S9, and then Note 8, and I believe Note 9 all supported Google Daydream, but it wasn't on the S10, which was fairly strange. I'm not really sure why. Maybe Samsung just didn't care to get it validated or whatever. But it's not on the Note 10 either, which basically means that both Daydream and Gear VR are dead at this point. Um, or rather, whatever potential market for them has pretty much been pulled out from underneath them because, I mean, Samsung's flagship phones are by far the most popular out of any Android. I mean, every other Android manufacturer is almost a rounding error compared to Samsung in terms of just flagships.
That's
So,
a nice way of words you just put in there. I'm sorry, I had to compliment you.
but so now that Daydream is not on either of the most popular major Android phones of this year, and Samsung has definitely given up on Gear VR. Basically, both platforms are dead. Um, which is I find it a little bit of a shame. I never tried Gear VR, but I did try Daydream on my original Pixel, and I liked it. But I had the smaller Pixel that only had the 1080p screen, so it wasn't super amazing. And I replaced phones a couple months after I got that headset because I got it during one of the sales much later on, and no phone I've had after that point have supported Daydream. Which is again that's been another issue that's probably hurt whatever potential Daydream had, and so yeah, it's kind of a bummer. Google,
Well,
oh
I
god,
think your writing actually hit all the points there. Like, I totally agree. It's the notion of wireless self-contained headsets definitely makes the whole putting your smartphone, which you use on a daily basis and would have to charge afterwards from your little VR session, into something that, maybe design tolerances, it's going to shake around a little bit, or it's, and then you have to think about what the heck the audio situation is going to be and how you're going to play. Like, that isn't ideal at all. So,
yeah,
yeah.
the dedicated headsets that have just everything built in. The Oculus Go is pretty much the only example right now of that done well. That's kind of what's replaced the entire idea of doing VR on your phone. And the Oculus is doing pretty well at this point. There's a lot of games for it now. It's pretty popular. Google announced 2 years ago at I/O 2017 that they were working on dedicated headsets running Daydream with multiple companies, but only one of them ever came out. It was the Lenovo Mirage Solo, and that's still the only one that's come out. And even as early as last year, Google teased a couple things they were working on for Daydream. Like they wanted to get regular Android apps working in VR, so you could kind of use it like a Microsoft HoloLens, where you just have your apps, visible in the virtual environment. They were also working on a new controller with more accurate movement, but I mean, none of those ever showed up. I don't know what happened to them. So
I want to
yeah,
ask Cody if he has any thoughts before I throw another segue in here and ruin the show.
I mean, I honestly, there's not a whole lot more to say about it. It's one of those things that was a nice attempt. It was an inspired attempt, but at the same time, they just didn't have the technology to make this good yet. And we talked about this a lot during the Q&A. The whole problem comes down to it's a good idea, but it was a few too many years too early to have really tried this. So, in a few more years, maybe someone will come back and do it again and do it better, do it right. Or maybe everyone will move on to something else.
I
I don't know.
mean,
It's hard to see too much of a direct path there.
I hate to think that Facebook would be owning the VR space. but nonetheless, I still look forward to Quest and other kind of experiences that up the level on that. Hopefully, well, I don't see how it's possible how smaller names can get up there at this point, but we'll see what VR has coming up on the horizon.
If
And
really quick, I will just say I don't think Facebook will be the single like goalkeeper on that one. I think Microsoft and Sony are both going to be really eating a lot of their lunch.
yeah,
Because Microsoft's
that's
already
fair.
doing it with AR and some work into VR, and Sony's had PlayStation VR for a while. And while obviously it's not catching on super well, it largely from what people say, it's a pretty good experience. So, I don't think I'm ready to see that one to Facebook yet.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you eventually we're just going to lump it all. I think people already consider it as kind of mixed reality or just like AR, VR. What's the difference at this point? So we have that to look forward to on the horizon. Now, if we flipped over 90 degrees, we would have a word that doesn't exist in the English language, and it would be Verizon excuse me. Choked on my segue there. That was a total failure on my part. Sorry for that. Spanking Sprint in this headline here from Ryan. Thank you for that imagery, I guess. But I guess it's always been the case in terms of network performance. Speedtest.net out with the latest rankings in the early 5G races. And we only have a few cities on the list here: Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Houston, Minneapolis, and Providence. And turns out Verizon, with its millimeter wave, no surprise there, kicking Sprint's butt with its speeds. So they got millimeter wave, great throughput, very limited coverage, and you're seeing close to or above 1 gigabit speeds download in the cities that Verizon is covering. As a direct comparison, Chicago, Verizon is at 873 megabits down, and Sprint is at 256. Now, both are great improvements on LTE. Let's not forget that here, because whereas we're talking about 64 to 128 megabits per second beforehand on LTE, this is like anywhere from a 3 to 6 times multiplier on that. So if things are the way they are right now, if we can translate the analogs over to the future where everyone's on 5G and we're keeping that 3 to 6 multiplier on there, that's great. So perhaps we'll look forward to that. But Sprint, with its mid-band, I think it's 2.5G gigahertz spectrum, that's going to be more broad-based in terms of its coverage. And even though we're seeing quite less speed, it's still, I think it's one of the words here, the coverage terms here is like 9 blocks or something like that. 9 city blocks.
You have to stand on your tippy toes in the exact corner and sort of do a little dance and tap your shoes twice, and then you get the good download speeds.
They're talking about millions of square miles or something, and I don't really see that. So, yeah,
no, that's not right.
Although,
good try, Verizon.
The top ranking here, Providence with 1.1 gigabits per second. I don't know if you're not. I wouldn't move to Providence for anything other than the Dell Soft Lemonade or the cabinets. They got some coffee syrup and milk. Great stuff. You put that into a shake. It's amazing. But you wouldn't move to Providence for the 5G. So there you go. That's my comment.
Thank you, travel agent Jules. Oh goodness. Speaking of
go ahead.
Damn it. Oh my god. We were so on the ball with the transitions on the start, and now we're just falling on our faces, and there's still a Hangouts alert on the video stream that we can't do anything about.
We're just one-upping each other. We're one-plussing each other. It's
oh no.
Oh, you're gonna slip that in there. Okay. Fine. Take my transition. I didn't want it.
What was yours? Come on. Let's
I
just
was
toss
just
it
gonna
in there.
I was just gonna say, speaking of 5G,
Man,
I'm on the ball tonight.
see,
So
see, this is where my college radio comes in, and I don't know, my writing skills or something. Um, I guess I can go with it. OnePlus CEO Pete Lau says that we're going to have another 5G phone this year, and
wow.
instead of it being the OnePlus 7 Pro 5G, where it only got to be in Europe for the time being, now it's going to be worldwide. I think it makes sense. By the time that the OnePlus 7 Pro 5G launched, God, that's a long name. That's stupid. It was like Europe was the only place that had anything ready, and it was like sub 6, and no one else. The chips are not out yet for the millimeter wave, or in some cases, or some, I don't know. It's just it's a little bit of a mess, but this will be dependent on what happens with the OnePlus supposedly 7T. We got the 6T, 5T late year release. Not sure how that will go just yet because we have almost literally no rumors about the 7T. So you will have to see. I wonder if they'll keep the split release model going.
It'll be the OnePlus 7T Epic Touch LTE with Sonic and Knuckles at the Olympic Games. No, but
And
I
Dante
wouldn't.
from the Devil May Cry series.
Yes, I do wonder how this has got to be really expensive if they want to make one SKU for the whole world, which is usually what or OnePlus usually does only one or two SKUs for their phones. Um, if they're gonna try to shove every implementation of 5G, that's probably gonna get really pricey. I mean, I think that I don't even know if the Galaxy S10 5G or I'm sorry, the Note 10 5G, if they have actual different models for every region or if they just put everything in one basket and that's part of the reason it's so expensive.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm sure those will be expensive. The first 5G phone I think was close to $900, right?
I think so. It was around that in the Euro ballpark. Excuse me.
Let's see. In the UK it was 59 UK dollars a month. I know they use pounds. I was just trying to be funny. But they don't say what the full price is. I don't know how many. Is that $59 reduced for the rest of your life, or is that 4 years? I don't
59.
know.
I would presume that's time, but like they have different, like their tariffs are all weird and stuff. I think in
Yeah,
general Europe is
it'll it'll be the price will be like Bitcoin where it changes every 2 minutes.
well, the Financial Times says like it's 900 something euros. So I think going with like that's still less than
Yeah,
the 200 euros or whatever, less than the Note 10 5G. In terms of Samsung, I think I think because Exynos, they have the chipset, they also have their own 5G modem, so it'd still be Qualcomm Exynos lines that would be under, but I'm not sure of the
ooh,
specifics.
that would be interesting. Well, I guess OnePlus wouldn't have to do the whole Exynos chip in their phones. They would just have to use the modem if they
Yeah.
wanted to go that route. That would have been really interesting, a OnePlus phone with an Exynos chip, but that probably
Because I
won't
believe
happen.
doesn't the X50 Snapdragon X50 on the Qualcomm's is like you can either do one or the other, sub 6 or millimeter wave, for one SKU, or and then with the X55 you can do both at the same time.
Maybe. I imagine so.
And it also has to do
Honestly,
with
this
like
is very confusing.
the standalone stuff too, because like at this point, 5G still relies heavily on a lot of 4G LTE infrastructure. So
Yeah.
that's going to be fun
Well,
for
what?
the next while.
Yeah. It is. It's still amusing that OnePlus keeps having it. OnePlus has been able to maintain its price advantage just because everyone keeps bumping up the price even further. So like now we're several $100s more than the OnePlus phones from a few years ago, but they're still cheaper than most other phones.
You know what would be
Oh
a
goodness.
good box that would also have 5G on it?
What, Jules?
Yes, I needed that. Thank you. A television set, because that's what Mr. Pete Lau wants. He wants a TV. He confirmed that there's a TV coming. And by the
We
way,
already knew there was a TV coming. We just didn't have the
by the
name.
way, well, yeah, but
And they had an epic reveal. And what was the name, Jules?
OnePlus TV.
Wow.
They had a competition for this, didn't they?
Incredible.
A year-long competition for the name. And this
incredible.
Is what they, okay.
OnePlus is truly ahead of every other company.
How much loving detail they put into the assets. Okay, the design is so unique. We're gonna have this logo grid, and it's just the OnePlus logo and TV next to it, and we're gonna have all these kerning and spacing rules. No, it's just OnePlus TV.
Yeah. So if for the people not looking at the link, which you should, because it's pretty funny, is they made a gif of like them sketching the logo in a program and all the lines intersecting it. It eventually makes OnePlus TV, and it reminds me of like every Silicon Valley company that does a 2,000 word blog post when they change a logo, and they're like, this is how we changed the logo. We focused on the design, and no one cares. I'm sorry, OnePlus. This is I don't know how they managed to make like a it's just called OnePlus TV. Why are you guys hiding this up?
It's such a simple thing. It's not evocative, as they would say.
Well, I guess it worked because they got us to write a post about it. So I guess we've got the pies on our face this time around.
Well, they got the pies on everyone's faces, but
yeah, we still don't have any details about this whatsoever. We don't know if it will just be their own smart TV platform or if they'll put Android TV on it like Sony and a couple of their companies do. I don't really like smart TVs at all, so I can't say I care for this very much. But judging by, well, actually, I was gonna look at the views, and not a whole lot of people read this article, so I feel like maybe
no one cares.
The interest in this isn't very high, or people might be interested once OnePlus actually reveals something about it that is not just a logo.
A TV, you need a TV. It has to have like the things on the screen and colors and sound and stuff. So walk.
You know what?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You know what they should do is when you turn it on, it does that THX sound effect, but it puts never settle on the screen. So it just says never settle, and then you get the wah sound effect.
And then to add on to that, it does the freaking logo animation.
Yeah, you get to see like the 30-second draw-in effect as the boot animation for the TV. I hope OnePlus is listening to this. They should do that.
Solonk in the chat says, stop hating on Silicon Valley. We're not hating on Silicon Valley this time as much as we're hating on, let me get this right, the Silicon River Delta, because that's where they are, right? OnePlus.
Yeah, that's I'm sure.
It's a solid reference.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Well, since we killed all the mood with that one, let's talk about some holiday shopping. Why don't we? If you're familiar with how trade works.
Is Christmas starting even sooner this year?
Well,
is that what we're
started 3 months ago, bro?
Yeah, Target already has out all their decorations.
Yeah, January 1st, I had the Halloween candy. It was great. Got stocked up 10 months in advance.
Yeah. Well, Black Friday is now an entire month, so it only makes sense that would bump up Christmas to mid-August.
So here's the thing. When the U.S. government puts tariffs on Chinese goods, on Chinese imports, that means whenever we bring in the Chinese goods to ports, we add in a 10% tax, and that makes it more expensive for you, the average consumer, to buy these Chinese goods. The problem is, a lot of stuff comes from China these days, and cell phones. One of those things, those dirty little things that we buy and happen to talk about here on Android Police. Um, there were supposed to be a whole bunch of tariffs that were going to take effect on September 1st, thanks to good old Mr. President Trump. $300 billion of goods, and yes, they included home electronics, cell phones, and the rest of it. It was this week that the White House announced that, okay, we're going to take off a few of these things. We're going to take off healthcare related stuff, safety gear, national security related stuff. We're going to take those off the list, and then we're going to stagger the effects here. We're gonna put some of this stuff. It's still going to go on September 1st. Some of it will be on September 1st, and a lot of it's going to be farming equipment, a lot of agricultural imports. But then we're going to move some things back to December 15th, and that's going to be the cell phones, the home electronics. Now, what do you think happens by December 15th? Oh, yeah, a lot of holiday shopping. And that's especially, when you have September 1st as the target date, and Apple, of all things to talk about, Apple, the big fish in the pond, has billions and billions of dollars of sales riding on launch events in the first week of the freaking month. That's not good news. So having that hang over the head of your biggest company in the world, Mr. President, is not really helping. But that situation has now changed. It looks like we'll be seeing more products perhaps going down the drain in terms of the tariffs. So hopefully we avoid a catastrophe on that front. But I just heard some Google stuff happening.
That wasn't mine.
Nor mine.
No, boy. But hey,
It interrupted Jules.
But I am going to mute mine now.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, that's the situation.
So
buy
your
the Pixel 4.
Yeah, so buy your Pixel 4 before December 15th. Buy your Switch Lite. Buy your new MacBook with still a broken keyboard. Buy all your electronics before then.
I wonder if freaking they'll rev up the promos like, hey, it's going to be Black Friday weekend, but we're going to continue it until December 15th, or just specific tariff related sales, like before.
That's what they call it.
September.
Yeah, you go to Target, it's like, hey, welcome to the Black Tariff weekend.
Well, yeah, you guys have talked about tax-free weekend in the chat several times. This is basically like, if they do that, that's kind of tax-free, or last of tax-free weekend, or lower tax weekend, whatever.
Tariff-free week down to Walmart. We got all the sales. Yeah. Well, Black Friday, like I said, Black Friday is an entire month now. What's another 2 weeks? Just keep adding it. Keep it coming.
Can we push it out like it's my birthday? I mean, just saying.
Is your birthday on the 18th or something like that?
Yeah, it's in March. I'm just asking for 3 more months. It's no big.
Well, listen. I mean, I was planning to get you a whole bunch of gifts, like according to HTS subheading 0802.90.25, pignolas, fresh or dried, shelled, or live mushroom spawn 0602.90.50. So, I mean, take your pick here. Anything you want from this list, I can get it for you before the tariffs come in.
I think we can find more stuff on that list, but I don't know. This mushroom spawn does sound really interesting. I'm curious about this now.
Hope I can get that before the embargoes come in.
Both the trade embargo and the review that you're going to do for this live mushroom spawn. Oh, apparently morels. These morels.
That's our Christmas Twitch stream this year.
Oh, perfect.
It's buying things that will go on. Tariffs will show up. Perfect.
Didn't know we had all planned out so well.
I wish we did.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Planning is totally our strong suit.
It's only a matter of time, folks. And speaking of which, if you're looking to track time on your wrist, these days you get it with a smartwatch, right?
I like
There
it.
you
That
go.
that was a solid transition.
Yeah. I guess we'll just go from there. Smartwatches, they did a pretty good job this year. They're up 38% in terms of shipments, and apparently you're getting a lot of. I'm wondering. I'm still trying to remember the chronology. I still said that wrong, but I'm going to roll with
Jules,
it.
are you okay over there?
I'm not.
Do
I
you
have
want me
never
to?
been.
Do you want me to take this one?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So the main company to come out ahead this time around was Samsung. They're gaining up a pretty significant chunk of the new sales. Samsung's shipments jumped from 2.2 million to 2.9 million, giving it 37.9% of the total market. That's a big number. So Fitbit is right behind them, and then I believe Garmin is behind them, and it just goes down from there. But of course, Apple's still number one because the Apple Watch is still. I don't think it's crazy to say it's significantly better than anything available on Android right now. uh, so yeah, yeah, it goes Apple, Samsung, Fitbit, and Garmin, and then everyone else is almost a rounding error. Fossil's got 4.1% market share, which um, doesn't paint a great picture for Wear OS because Fossil is just about the only company left making these watches, except for Mobvoi, which makes the Tick watches. So that's not a great that's not a great indicator for how well Wear OS is doing. But people like their smartwatches, apparently.
Do we have a track on Fossil? Because I'm wondering if that's growth or decline or something.
I don't know if we've ever gotten super solid. I know Fossil has. Uh, uh, I know Fossil's reported a couple times about their sales. I can't remember what they were like, but
Well,
of course this is all analysts reporting as well. So
yeah.
it might not be exactly, but it's probably pretty close.
Well, they have a great rounding. Speaking of rounding errors, they only measure it by the millions here. So
Yeah.
the tenth of a million, so 100,000 each. So to see Fossil Group doing 200,000 last year, and then all of a sudden 300,000. That's a 34%. Well, that's actually a realistic looking number. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's Oh boy, numbers, they're weird.
So yeah, smartwatches are in, guys. Make sure to get them before the tariffs hit.
I don't know.
Man.
It's so hard to look at numbers like this and necessarily take them at face value. Haha. But no, smartwatches. It's still one of those things. Not everyone needs one. Obviously, it's a niche thing. They're going to come and go based on major upgrades. So we're going to see numbers always like spiking up and then falling down just depending on where the product cycles are.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Samsung might end up still climbing because they've got another watch on the way. Well, Fossil too, actually, which I'll get to. I guess I can. Should I jump to that now?
Oh, we can.
Well, how about we do our shill and then?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
We got to shill first.
We got to save something for the people there.
Yeah. Who wants to shill?
Go for it, because you'll just break into your own thing anyway.
Okay. All right. So I know the live stream is very broken right now, but if you give us money, it might not be broken in the future. If you can give us money by subscribing to us at twitch.tv/Android Police. But if you have an Amazon Prime membership, you actually get one free Twitch sub every month that you can give to us. So you don't pay any money, but we still get money. So we're both winning in this situation. So you should definitely do it. We have instructions for linking your Amazon account to your Twitch account in the show notes of the audio stream if you're listening that way, or if you're watching live, it's below the video. And when you subscribe, you get a really fun Ryan emoji. It's Ryan laughing while he was really drunk at an event. It's a hoot, as the kids say. Also, when you subscribe, you get extra entry methods and all the giveaways that we do, because we do a lot of giveaways now. I know that because I set up most of them. We do a lot of them. And who doesn't like a slightly better chance at winning free stuff? So subscribe to us on Twitch, please, so we can try to fix our broken live stream.
Yeah, Corbin Davenport is actually just a assumed name. His birth certificate actually reads contest coordinator.
That's true, it does. I've tried to hide my identity for years. But yeah, so unfortunately, what is not free is the Fossil Gen 5. And I've been trying it out, Fossil's new smartwatch, for the past week. The review actually isn't live yet, but we just put in a preview link in the Twitch chat. It should be live by the time the audio version goes out, but you guys watching live, you can see a little sneak peek right there, because it's not technically going up until tomorrow morning. Very exciting. So Fossil's new watches, they have them in a couple different versions. Fossil does this every time when they make a new generation. There's a couple different styles designed for both men and women with different bands and such. So all these watches have the same internals, and they're all $295, and they have almost every feature you can get on a Wear OS watch besides cellular connectivity. So it has a heart rate sensor, it has NFC, it has GPS, it has a ambient light sensor, has a speaker on it, which is new compared to all of Fossil's previous watches. Has water protection for up to 30 meters, so you can swim with this if you want. The main selling point is the new battery modes, which Qualcomm kind of teased a year ago was coming to Wear OS at some point, because they made this whole new chipset that was supposed to allow this to happen. But it's pretty underwhelming. Basically, what it boils down to is that there's a new button on the watch in the quick settings that lets you do a couple different modes. So you can just run it in the regular mode that is just everything's on. There's a new extended mode that turns everything off except the Bluetooth connection, to the point where you actually have to press the side button to turn on the watch all. And that's meant for if you just want to see notifications on your wrist. And then beyond that, there's a time-only mode, which was also on the Fossil Sport, and a couple other watches have this, where it just shuts off Wear OS entirely, and it's just a clock. So the battery life in general, it's better than the Fossil Sport, which was their last watch. I was getting almost 2 days on a single charge in the regular mode. With the extended mode, I could get about 3, but it just made me hate using the watch because I couldn't even look at the time unless I not only lifted it up to my face, but also clicked one of the buttons. So not a great experience, but I guess if you're in the wilderness for a couple of days, you can still, maybe you'll like that. But yeah, so, and also the one thing that did surprise me with this watch is how fast it was. Because most of the Wear OS watches I've tried in the past, they're pretty laggy. Apps take a while to open. There's a lot of jittering with the animations. There's not really any of that on this watch, because they put a gig of RAM in here and 8 gigs of storage, which is double both RAM and storage what you get on most other watches. There's a couple with that much RAM, but not many. And it kind of made me wonder, maybe Google should have made 1 gig of RAM a requirement for all Wear OS watches, if the main complaint about Wear OS, which is how kind of slow it is, could be fixed with another half gig of memory. But anyway, so this is a pretty good watch, but the price is what kills it for me, because right now Fossil wants almost $300 for all the versions of this. And the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active, which does everything this does, either as good or better in some cases, is $100 less. So unless you really want Wear OS, maybe you really want Google Keep on your watch, or you really like Google Assistant, or if you like the more classic designs that Fossil has, because the watches do look very nice. Unless you're tied to one of those, I think the Galaxy Watch Active is the better buy for most people, especially because Wear OS, a lot of people buy smartwatches for fitness, and Wear OS has never been very good at the fitness tracking. In fact, we wrote an article a little while ago about how Google Fit was partially broken for at least a month. Like it didn't sync data properly at all for a very long time. And Google, they might have fixed it by now, but it was broken for a while. So again, the Fossil Q Gen 5, it's a good watch, but I think most people would probably be happier with the Watch Active. But once this goes on sale, I think it will be much more competitive.
Just a question. How many looks did you get as you were walking down the street or having lunch and just showing this thing off?
I'd like to imagine a lot, but probably none.
Okay.
Because the model they sent me is just completely black with a black band, so it's like the most boring looking watch I think I own right now.
I mean, you might have shot this a little cooler, but it looked a little blue to me. But I don't know.
I mean, I have it. I think that might be Lightroom making it look a little bit prettier. I have it right now. It's
darn Lightroom.
Yeah, it reminds me actually a lot of the Moto 360, how that was just entirely black with the black band. But I did post this on Twitter a couple days ago, and a couple people did point out that they prefer this black design over the Fossil Sport, which was released last year, and that was only available either in like a silver color or with like a red, or with like very bright primary colors. So I get I've already seen people that are like, yeah, I really like this design, I want to get this watch. So yeah,
that's good.
It's pretty good for the most part.
Get a sale on that, and then you have a good deal.
Yeah, just wait. Make sure you got to buy before the tariffs kick in, though.
That's 4 months, people.
Yeah, you've got
the countdown has begun.
Visit your local Fossil store every week and ask them, is it on sale?
Oh man, that's something. I think that's a good something to end on, right?
It is. Unless anyone, show of hands, who's got anything else? No one.
Corbin, have you been to the new Hattie B's up in Midtown? Or wherever it is.
What are you talking about?
The new Hattie B's, the new Nashville chicken joint, the hot chicken joint. They recently opened up in Atlanta.
Well, Atlanta's an hour away from me, and it driving through Atlanta is like one of the most stressful things I think I've ever done. I don't know how people drive on like 10-lane roads on a daily basis, but it's very scary. But I probably will go close to Atlanta this weekend because I'm meeting someone. So maybe I'll
it's a good time.
Maybe I'll brave the crazy people on the road around here.
Take the car to Sandy Springs and then water the rest of the way up there.
Well, I have a Nissan Leaf, so I can't get very far.
Well, there you go. That's my piece.
Well, if you've enjoyed the show, and after all the crazy antics, how could you not? You can help support the show by subscribing on Twitch. Of course, that also gets you access to the infamous Rhine emoji and free contest entries. Because again, who doesn't want free stuff? And with that, I think we're gonna call it a night. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch up with you next week.